heart is throbbing like crazy right now.
You certainly don't look it.
To think that the person who killed the wonderful Mahiru Koizumi is in this room. Impossible! Impossible! That's so impossible! There's no way I can believe that!
Yeah, I don't want to believe it either.
I can't do anything. How annoying. But I'm just gonna believe in everyone. That's the least I can do.
Aw, thanks, Mon Ami.
Everyone do your best. Don't lose to yourselves. And don't forget to save regularly.
That last one is actually a good tip. Don't lose to yourselves. Basically, are you telling me, don't lose your way? Sorry.
Well, now that we've decided to believe Hiyoko, now what?
If the killer was luring Hiyoko into a trap, then something that was used there might be a clue.
Do you mean the letter?
No, it was probably the gummy.
Huh? Candy can be a clue?
Hey, when you woke up, was the gummy already there?
Now that you mention it, I feel like it wasn't.
Just as I thought.
Just as you thought?
If the killer planted evidence while Hiyoko was there, she would have thrown it away if she found it.
Which means the gummy was placed inside the closet after Hiyoko fled from the beach house?
Makes sense.
The killer returned to the scene of the crime? After I left?
They wouldn't have to do something that troublesome as long as they hid somewhere within the beach house.
That's impossible! There's nowhere to hide! I even glanced inside the shower room as I was running away, but there was nobody there.
Now this one I can't figure out.
Then, does that mean the killer came back?
Yes, but how?
I wonder. At any rate, the solution to that problem is connected to what really happened. That's what I think.
Oh joy, a brand new game. We're going to be introduced to the brand new minigame, another brand new minigame in Danganronpa 2. A perfect product for me? Oh, you shouldn't have. We're going to be dealing with the new minigame, Logic Dive. This minigame, I guess the only reason they thought to bring it up is so it would break up the tension. Now, with this murder mystery just going on and on and on, you would think people would need a break. That's what the interruptions in the middle of the trial are for. But Logic Dive is a bit different, because the solutions in Logic Dive could have been reached in regular dialogue, but they thought, you know what, let's make it a little different. Let's make it so that Hajime actually has to go through an obstacle course, picking the correct statements in order to find the truth. You also have different controls to brake and to jump. So yeah, these are obstacle courses. Obviously, they're going to get harder as the game goes on, and you have to solve riddles, or parts of the investigation that come up. The game's going to ask you a question, and you need to choose which side to go on. You'll see what I mean. It's better if this is shown via visuals. But just know that this part, completely unnecessary. But it does break it up every now and again. Now, probably the funniest thing is, during these obstacle courses, you can actually fall down pits. You can bump into walls. It's kind of aggravating, really. Eventually, you will get to that specific question, and it'll ask you to pick a side. Left side or right side, top or bottom. It wants you to pick a statement that makes the most sense in response to the question. If you get it right, awesome, you get to continue with your logic dive. Get it wrong, you'll fall straight into a pit, and it's hilarious. It's actually really funny to see Hajime just plummet down a pit. Yeah, if you ever have trouble thinking of the question, because you are timed on this, if you need kind of like a break or more time to figure it out, just hold the break button. It would also help if you save before Logic Dives if you're going for a perfect run. Let's try out Logic Dive. Just like every other minigame, chances are I'm going to be quiet here. I might speak up when the question is uttered, but I just want to make sure I do this right. Right, if the killer was still there, they could have made it so that it looked like they weren't there and framed Hiyoko, which is exactly what they wanted. So we need to find out when they showed up and just the time frame, basically. The time frame of when they were there between Hiyoko being there and not being there. Think. Right. If we go over everything we know, maybe with a short little mini game, we'll be able to figure this out. Never thought you'd see this in a point-and-click murder mystery, did you? Let's go ahead and speed up. Holding down the X button will let you speed up, and you can also get these little speed boosts. Oh, oops. I guess if you let go of the button, it actually slows you down. Let's not let that happen. Question 1. Let's take the red path. When did the killer arrive at the beach house? Before Hiyoko got there. And it looks like we were correct. They give you 6 minutes for this. This is insane. Oh, darn it. Missed one. When did the killer leave the beach house? They would have had to have left after Hiyoko, or else they would have been found out. Looks like we were right. That's automatic, by the way. And now we have the inclusion of polygonal obstacles. Where was the killer hiding while Hiyoko was unconscious? Well, I would think inside the beach house. Not bad for our first logic dive. Pretty easy. And that's all there is to it. And now it shows you all the results. And we should have a brain blast coming up.
It's all coming together. Do you think the killer might have been hiding?
You spent all that time thinking just to say something so pointless. How disappointing.
Hey, if it gets you off the guillotine block.
Didn't I just say there was nowhere to hide? Do I have to explain it in another language so you can understand?
Her personality got a hell of a lot more forceful once she stopped being a suspect.
Well, yeah, she's finally free, so she thinks she can say whatever she wants.
No, there should have been a place for them to hide. A place you didn't look, Hiyoko.
What are you saying? Stop being annoying or I'm gonna make Akane bop you on the head and shut you up for good!
Wow, she's deadly. Yes, there's gotta be a way. In what way did the killer hide? Place Hiyoko wasn't looking. To be honest, if she checked the shower room, at least that's what she claims, and there's no other place, the only logical explanation...
Here! The killer was probably hiding in the closet.
The closet? That's where I was locked up!
That's the fun part.
After you woke up, you said you rushed out of there, right? Then you probably didn't look inside the closet very carefully.
But could two people even hide in such a small place? And without Hiyoko knowing?
That's why the killer made sure to arrange a hiding place.
They created a hiding spot in this small closet. We actually found something that describes this perfectly. The one place the killer could have been hiding while inside the closet, with Hiyoko being in there at the same time. Yeah, the only place I can think of is the surfboard case.
Here! What about the surfboard case in the closet? I'm pretty sure they could have hidden in there.
Huh? Inside the surfboard case?
But the shelf it was on, it was pretty messy, don't you think? 2 surfboards were stacked on the top shelf. And there were surfboards that weren't even in a case. The killer probably did that on purpose to secure a hiding place. 'Cause we haven't been on this island that long, so the closet shouldn't have been that messy, I think.
Then, the killer was close to me during that time?
Yeah, they were quietly holding their breath and hiding very close to you.
It's kinda like, in for a penny, in for a pound, so to speak.
Don't you mean it's always darkest under the lighthouse?
I shouldn't say things I don't understand, like, so to speak.
Anyway, the killer hid silently, and after making sure Hiyoko left, they finally left the surfboard case.
I agree with that as well.
Seriously, nobody asked what you think.
There's no way the killer would leave Hiyoko by herself if they were trying to frame her. If Hiyoko was left alone and ruined the evidence the killer had planted, it would have messed up their plan. Instead, it makes more sense to think that the killer was hiding in the beach house, watching Hiyoko.
That makes a lot of sense. They could technically manipulate what happened after Hiyoko left, but if she was still there, she clearly would have seen things trying to frame her and would have destroyed it. So they would have to keep a close eye on her.
Saying whatever you want, even if you didn't ask. Alright, if you don't want to friggin' get punched, just stand still and let me punch ya!
Save it for after the trial.
Oh, you shut up. Then, grit your teeth.
Sorry, Akane. It's not like that. Hey, Monokuma. Can I ask you about something that seems strange to me?
Nagito with the questions.
I believe Prince Shotoku was from the future. A man from the future is always directing the flow of history.
I'll listen to your story about men from the future some other time. As I recall, the body discovery announcement is made when 3 or more people discover a body, right?
Here we go. This is what I was curious about.
Is the killer also included? Among those 3 or more people?
Pay attention to this. This is a huge detail.
Yeah, that's true, but, something like that is basically what it's supposed to be.
You really don't know, do you?
You don't sound very articulate.
Jeez, you're pretty annoying for noticing something like that.
So let me guess, you're gonna change the rules?
I know it sounds like an excuse, but the body discovery announcement isn't supposed to be used for deduction. It's intended to create a fair trial. It's supposed to let everyone know a body has been found.
So you're saying it's unfortunate that I used it for deduction? I understand your excuse, but depending on who actually found the body, it's possible that your 3 or more people rule could be deadly.
I like where you're going with this. Please keep it going.
Well, as long as I keep things ambiguous, I can respond to situations with some flexibility.
Flexibility, huh? So what about this time? Is it 3 people including the killer or not?
Nagito's pulling all the strings. This is why I love to hate you and hate to love you.
Jeez, fine. You want me to say it? It doesn't include the killer this time, okay? All done.
Now all of you should be thinking of how this is possible.
Which means 3 people other than the killer discovered Mahiru's body.
And remember back to who the 3rd person would have been.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I just thought it was somewhat strange. More importantly, let's get back to our original topic.
I think Nagito just split this case right open. Really gotta think about this. We probably know who the 2nd person is, and we know who the 3rd person is. Now.
You're the one who went on a tangent.
It was a great tangent.
We were just saying the killer was hiding in the surfboard case, right?
And after Hiyoko ran away, the killer got to enjoy the simple life of destroying evidence.
Or planting it.
However, before we proceed any further, there's something we have to make clear. The killer blocked the roadside door with Mahiru's body before Hiyoko ran away. But what about the blood?
Now that you mention it, that mystery hasn't been solved yet.
It's going to be alright. If you guys have come this far, I'm sure you can discover that answer too.
What's funny is I've been paying attention to your comment class trial. A lot of you went far beyond the game.
Now, let's start the argument, shall we?
Oh, I can't wait. Let's see if you were all correct. Oh good, more non-stop debate stuff. A truth flashback. This is basically the memorization that we did in the first Danganronpa game. Basically, you can go find a weak point and memorize it. Now, what does this do? This creates a brand new truth bullet that you can use. So, you only get one shot at it. As soon as you memorize a statement that somebody has said, you fire it once, and if you miss, you have to go back and get it again. What this does is, basically when you have a non-stop debate where none of your truth bullets match anything, that's when you need to start memorizing statements and start shooting them at other statements. So, it does help, and it also helps that the game just throws you red herrings all over the place with your actual truth bullets. That's when you know that they're completely useless and you need to use a flashback. Right, this is when you have absolutely no answers. When none of them make sense, you're going to want to steal a statement from somebody else to shoot at the truth. I honestly really like this mechanic in the game. This makes you think on your toes and just wonder, none of these statements fit. Why did they give me this crap? Oh, that's right. I need to use something that someone said and use it against them. That is also a very good notion. Because they included the ability to agree with people, you can't shoot memorized statements at agreements. There we go. If we want to point out a lie, that's the only time truth memorization works. Here we go.
What did the killer do with the blood on their body?
Maybe they simply washed it off.
They couldn't use the shower, right? So washing it off would have been impossible.
They didn't have to use the shower.
Oh, what about the wetsuits in the closet? Maybe they wore one when they moved the body.
If they used something other than the shower...
What did they do with the bloody wetsuit?
They cut it up and whoosh.
As someone who flushes their shit every morning, I can declare it would definitely clog the toilet.
Maybe it's the other way around? Perhaps someone other than the killer moved the body?
Maybe they were able to wash it off.
Thanks for those details, Nekomaru. I'm glad we got to know your morning routine. Yeah, there was something in here that we could have actually used. A statement that we could steal.
Maybe they simply washed it off.
I'm actually really glad they only gave you one truth bullet, and before that, told you that it was basically going to be useless.
They didn't have to use the shower.
Oh, what about the wetsuits in the closet?
I actually think I took the wrong one. Let me think about this.
They used something
Oh my
other
god.
than the shower.
Ah,
What did they do
there
with
we
the
go.
bloody wetsuit?
That's the one that I wanted to use, other than the shower. We're going to be using this on the other statement that we have. It would definitely clog the toilet. Yes, it was definitely good to know. Right. And the good thing about this is, when you steal a statement and it goes through the entire cycle, you do keep it.
What did the killer do with the blood on...
Maybe they simply washed it off.
They couldn't use the shower, right?
Right?
So washing it off would have been impossible.
Not exactly.
No, that's wrong.